Have you ever wondered how much a Springbok player earns to don the green and gold jersey? In this video, I want to break down salaries from test match fees to URC wages to eye-watering overseas deals with the likes of French rugby and Japanese rugby. And at the end, I want to break down as to whether it's still financially suitable to stay in South Africa and whether it's worth it anymore, right? So if we're looking at fees, for match day 23 players, they get 118,198 rands per test, right? So that's if you start it. Squad players, non-playing, they earn around 59,539 per week. Training squad members earn around 8,505 rands per day, and they are paid regardless of whether they play their club rugby. Right? So, do you think that's a fair reward for representing your country? I don't know. Maybe you think it's a good amount. Maybe you think they should be earning more. I want to hear from you. What do you think? So, domestic URC and Currie Cup salaries. So, URC franchise minimum is 39,575 per month. That's entry level, right? So your top domestic players like your Ebenezer, your Bongi and Bonambi, your, Willie LaRue, they are up to around, I believe it's around 1 million rands per month, give or take, depending on seniority, experience, and so on. Currie Cup players, they earn 3,394 rands per match. And then sevens players, the Boks, they earn 353,000 rands per year as a minimum. So depending on age, experience, seniority, that will varies. Now, to note, domestic salaries are impacted by SARU's salary cap and sponsorship budgets. Now, this is where things start to get spicy, right? Because this is where the questions start entering when they come overseas. Because we look at a lot of other currencies, they are far stronger than what it would be in South Africa, right? So there's a very big earning potential in Japan, France, Ireland, England. We look at Cheslin Kolbe, he's earning over 20 million rands per year. Faf de Klerk, again, 20 million rands. Japanese rugby, elite, well, it's not elite level rugby. Rassi is sending them there because it's a lower standard, but it protects the players more for Springboks. You have obviously Sia Kolisi, he's now come back into the Sharks, but he's still earning a very, very good salary. Andre Pollard, he's this, I don't know the exact figures, but he earns, I think the average for a normal player, let's do the calculations. Average for a normal rugby player playing in the Premiership earns around £150,000. £150,000 per year. Now, let's look at rands to pounds. Okay, exchange rate. So for every £1, yeah. So the current exchange rate is for every pound, it's 23 rands 90. Right? So now we take the figures and we do, from what I believe, an average salary for a playing squad member. So whether you for the Saints, Leicester, Bath, so on, you're earning around £150,000. So that would be around 35 million rands. 35 million rands playing in England for Leicester at the average wage, right? So I do believe he is earning around the 41 to 42 million rands per year. But yeah, that's a big salary. Would you guys turn that up? would you guys turn up 41 million rands? I wouldn't. If I had the choice to play in South Africa and earn, let's say, 14, 15 million rand a year, or I go to England or France and I get paid almost triple that, 3, 4 years playing at elite level rugby, competition, playing with elite level players, and I get played really, really well, in a couple of years, my family will be sorted. My family will be ready to go. There are stories of Springboks that have rejected to go to play for the Springboks because it was not financially viable, because they were playing in Japan, because the amount that they were earning in Japan was far superior to playing for their national team. How does that work? Couple years and you are financially set. Is it worth staying in South Africa for for you know for that? Because you look at all the best paid players, they're all playing abroad. They are all playing abroad, right? So I don't know. It's difficult. I mean, South African rugby, they do have retainers and central contracts as well. So they often they're often worth anywhere between 1 to 3 million rands, and this does include perks like housing, injury insurance, marketing. Players can also earn more money from sponsors and brands like Nike, Red Bull, Adidas, whatever perfume they want to be advertising, and then like paid appearances, image rights, and things like that. So they still can earn a lot of money elsewhere because the Springbok brand holds a weight, right? It holds something. So when you don that green and gold shirt, it's you're not only getting paid, it's opening you up to a lot more doors, right? It's giving you a lot more options to have what is available for you. Plus, then you do have Rassi thinking about what is best for the Springbok. So if he wants to see you playing in Japan, he will let you know. And I don't think many players, unless they are very, very young, and want to fight for those positions. You look at Cheslin Kolbe in his 30s, you look at um, players like Damien Dialende, I believe he's in Japan as well. Players in their late 20s, early 30s, they're going to be going there. They want to save their body for the Springboks. It's lower league rugby. You're getting paid much better. Why not? And then maybe at the end of your career, when you have your last 1, 2, maybe 3 years left on you, come back to South Africa and retire in South Africa, where you are home, where you have your family, once you are financially set for life, right? So we look at the pros and the cons to being home or moving abroad, right? So the pros are obviously you're closer to home, your family, your friends, where you grew up, right? Your surroundings. You have your national pride of, playing for your, playing for not only your club, your potential home club, playing in South Africa, being local for things like Rassi's alignment camps and things like that, and access to Springbok camps. It's very, very handy instead of being having video calls from abroad. The downside: far weaker currency, far lower wages, and less financial stability post retirement. Because what options do you have? There are a lot of players in from South Africa that have big companies in England and so on that you know is life after rugby. Because what happens after rugby? We've seen Kitsoff. I can't remember who it was, but he runs a beer company with another Springbok. Um, so there is different options available for you if you have the right mind, but there's definitely a lot more options and availability abroad than what there is at home. Um, we look at what it means to play abroad. The upsides: you get ridiculous salaries, absolutely ridiculous salaries. Quality of life in France or Japan, can many people really knock it? Unless you're not for that, but there's a lot of culture to France. You still have relatively good rugby, good weather, and a very, very good community. Same thing with Japan. And also, you get a much broader brand exposure. Playing for teams like Leinster, Toulouse, playing for the best in the world, it doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt. But then you look at the downsides. You are going to be traveling far, far more, whether it's going back home, if you're from England, anybody that has flown from England to South Africa, let's say for me, I want to go to Cape Town, a one-way flight from Heathrow is 11 hours. And then still for me to get to Cape Town, I need to pick up another flight from Joburg into Cape Town. So all in all, you're looking around 12 to 13 hours of flying. Um, it's also harder to get noticed by Bok coaches. So obviously, you're not playing domestic rugby. You have all the domestic coaches that are at most games. They can only watch you from TV. It's very hard for them to get out to, let's say, England or Ireland. So unless you are putting in really, really good performances, you are not going to be seen. And then isolation from Bok camps. You're going to be doing video calls like Archie Snyman from Leinster. They aren't available in South Africa. They aren't domestic. So they aren't available for your daily training camps. They have to go video call, so you don't have access to that, which is a big downside, especially when you're preparing for the rugby championship or the upcoming tests or the matchup against the Barbarians. So if you were a Bok, would you take the money? Would you go abroad? Or would you stay loyal to the Mzansi? Let me know. Because A, money is far superior abroad. Far superior abroad. Now, there are a couple other teams that I want to break down into finances. Same thing with All Blacks, how they compare. Australia, England, France, right? Japan. I want to look into a couple more of these things. So if you've enjoyed the breakdown, please smash the like button, subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And let me know in the comments, should Saru be doing more for their Springboks? Should they be paying more or provide more incentives to keep the Springboks and the local talent at home? We've seen what it means to have local stars stay home. Look at France. Look at how they've been improving. A vast majority of their stars, the Albert, Dupont, we have Dupont, you have Achigaray, Atasogbe, you have Malfana, Malvaca, you have Ramos, you have all of these players coming from French youth development and staying home because it's worth their while. So should Sarah be doing more? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Bye.